Now, as a Liberal Party elder statesman, every seat is sacred, of course. But what damage would they do to the Liberal Party and to the nation if they were able to take out Josh Frydenberg, the Treasurer?
They do enormous damage. I mean, Josh is an outstanding Treasurer. He's an indefatigable worker and he's a great Liberal. And I admire him enormously, and he's done a terrific job in managing the Australian economy, and he'd been an enormous loss. But I mean, I also agree with every seat. I don't ever like seeing Liberals defeated.
I've got to ask you, Mr Howard, you've been out campaigning in this election. You've been interstate on the ground in marginal electorates. It's hard work. You don't need to do it. Why are you doing that? You're helping people win their seats. You're really working hard. I've got to say, in contrast to the performance of some other former Liberal Prime Ministers.
Well, I'm not going to talk about them. I'm doing it because I think Australia needs the retention of the Morrison government. I think it's been a good government, made mistakes, and as my government is, all governments do. But I think Australia will be stronger, better and more prosperous with the Liberal government. And I owe the Liberal Party a lot. I would never have achieved what I hope was able to achieve in certain areas in public life without the benediction, if I can put it that way, of the Liberal Party, and I owe it. And the least I can do at a time like this is to get out and do my bit.
Well, I think it's impressive. I know our viewers see it and they think it's impressive. It's obvious you do it because you believe that the party deserves it, but they're very, very lucky to have you out there because I can see you're still very popular on the campaign trail. I want to ask you about a new project. Now, we didn't ask you on to talk about this. I hope you don't mind, but you've presenting and hosting a documentary for Foxtel. It goes to air next week, looking at Robert Menzies' home movies. Tell us about what you've found and what we're going to see.
Well, it is a terrific little enterprise because Bob Menzies, way back in the dark days of World War II, when he went to London to press on Churchill and the British War Cabinet the vulnerability of Australia to a Japanese attack, he took a motion home movie, colour, in 1940, and some of these wonderful...
We're seeing some of it on screen now, extraordinary historic footage.
And his wonderful examples of Churchill feeding the ducks and having a picnic with the royal family, and how it took 23 days or something to fly by flying boat from Rose Bay in Sydney, this tortuous route. It's a great experience, and they're on is holding up the camera, and it's a piece of wonderful Australian history.
Wonderful. We'll look forward to seeing that. John Howard, the reporter presenter on the Menzies movies. Just before I let you go, who will win the election?
I think it's very tight. I do. I think the coalition will make it, but I'm not complacent, and I know the Prime Minister's not complacent. This is a tight election. It's a democracy. Whoever wins, well, they're entitled to the support of the Australian people. You won't see any people complaining about crookery in this country because we have a clean electoral system.
Indeed, and a great electoral commission. Thanks for joining us, Mr Howard. I appreciate it. That is John Howard, former Prime Minister of Australia, and that documentary, The Menzies Movies, is going to be on Foxtel Wednesday, May the 18th, 7:30 p.m. next week, and you'll be able to see it on Foxtel on demand. Don't you worry about that.